So, Jack Delosa is an entrepreneur, investor, and media personality. He is the founder and chairman of Australia's largest coaching provider, The Entourage. Who's heard of The Entourage? Yeah, amazing, amazing company. The Entourage, with a global community of nearly 1 million business owners. Under his leadership, The Entourage has worked. Along the way, Jack became an investor, investing in companies spanning biotech, luxury real estate, finance, e-com, food, retail, recruitment, even aviation, including one unicorn, which is a business that goes from $0 to $1 billion within just 10 years. Jack is the author of 3 best-selling books. His most recent one, Elevate, became bestseller within 12
and so, yeah, thank you for having me. You know, I can't speak highly enough of Ryan, guys. I think every now and again in business and life, you meet someone and you're like, they're one of the good guys. They're one of the good people that exist in the world. And I think that when you find a genuinely good human being who is able to produce commercial results, I think they're a really unique breed. And so hugely grateful to RT and the team and all of you guys for having me here. How good is coming to events like this, and it just gives you the impetus and the rejuvenation to start thinking bigger, not just for yourself, but everybody around you. Team, everything you guys are covering over these 3 days, and you know what I hope to cover with you over the next hour, is all really near and dear to my heart, right? When I was a kid, you know, from the age of 6, I've been studying how the human brain works, psychology, leadership, management, influence, cognitive behavioral therapy, neuro-linguistic programming, and all of that kind of culminates in, you know, what we specialize in doing today is helping companies to grow faster, scale further, and do so in a way that's easier than what they've done before. And so the businesses that I've started, that I've built, or that I'm an active investor in today, the portfolio is worth about $140 million. And I attribute all of that to the principles and the practices that you guys are immersing yourselves in over these 3 days. So well done for being here, and well done for making this commitment to yourself. What I want to do with you in this session is talk to you about exactly that. How do you create a blueprint? Whether you're a business owner, whether you're a manager inside of a larger organization, whether you're a salesperson, what does the larger blueprint look like in terms of how do we enable businesses to accelerate growth, grow faster than what they've been doing before? What drives human decision making? And the reason why I think this is so pivotal and so fundamental is that it underpins everything we do. It underpins everything in our marketing, in our branding, in our messaging, in our content, in our ads, in our nurtures, in our sales process, in our offers, in our product or service delivery, in our product or service retention, in our upsells, in our cross-sells. What drives human decision making? And so my obsession has been, how do human beings make decisions? And how do we communicate and lead them in a way that enables them to make better, faster decisions? In this room, you're probably all familiar with left and right brain thinking. So, what I want to talk to you about is, how does this understanding influence your entire customer journey? And what I want to take you guys through is essentially our blueprint for how we scale businesses. This is the entire customer journey and what to do and what not to do at each stage in order to create an upward spiral of growth. If there's one thing that companies who scale effectively have developed, it's 2 things. The first thing is an offer and a brand that connects with the hearts and minds of their consumer. And the second is, how do I encapsulate that and engineer that into a replicable structure that can be scaled? When we do not have a sales process, when we do not have a sales methodology, and this also extends to marketing as well. When we don't have a defined consumer journey, a defined sales process, a defined marketing process, by definition, you cannot lead your prospect, because you're not leading them anywhere. Leadership is take me from where I am to where I need to be. And if you don't have a foresight of your own process, then by definition, you cannot lead. That's why sales becomes awkward, because we don't have any forward momentum. We don't have the tools or the strategies in order to execute it well. Therefore, we lean out of it. Therefore, we don't lead. But guess what? Please write this down. Your customers are begging to be led. Your customers are begging to be led. When we don't have a sales process, we second guess ourselves, and we second guess ourselves who picks up on it. The customer. And so we're not infusing the right amount of certainty and confidence into the process to inspire them or to give them the certainty to move. Sales is a transference of certainty. In a world full of uncertainty, people crave certainty. In a world full of uncertainty, people crave certainty. What happens when we give them that? And again, I'm not just talking about conversational sales. I mean through your social media posts, through your landing pages, through our emails. When somebody's certainty goes up, what happens? Conversions increase. Time to sale decreases. They buy quicker. If you've got a web development or web design agency, rather than having a 3-month sales cycle, doing what you're doing with Ryan can take you down to a 3-day sales cycle. You can imagine the increase in velocity of revenue and profitability when we decrease time to sale to that extent. We need to have a upsell way of selling. We need to have a certified you way of selling that transfers that certainty to our prospects, able to buy more faster and spend more when they do. I'll come back to that in a minute. The third element here, team, is delivery. We've marketed it, we've sold it, and we need to have a customer journey that's not transactional and doesn't commoditize us, but implants us in the hearts and minds of our customer in a way that transcends the products or service that we offer. Who's ever walked into a shop, a retail shop, maybe you're looking for clothes, and the shop assistant came up to you and said, "Can I help you?" And we say, "No thanks, I'm just looking." Why do we say that? Every single one of your prospects has buyer's resistance. It's not a question of whether they have it or not, it's a question of intensity. To what extent do they have it? Now, what's the opposite to buyer's resistance? Buyer's acceptance. But what do most businesses and what do most people do? We're so quick to try and increase buyer's acceptance. We start telling somebody all of the amazing things that we've got and the features and the this and the that, but we haven't decreased their resistance yet. And so all we're doing by trying to increase their acceptance is actually increasing their resistance. That's the job of marketing, is to, please write it down, decrease resistance and increase acceptance. We want to attract, which is we want to attract and build an audience. Team, we want a tribe of people who know us, who understand that we care, who understand that we get them, who understand that we're good at what we do, and that when they are ready to buy, they raise their hand to inquire. We're just going to write in our models, convert. We want to convert our audience to, you guys tell me in marketing, leads. We want to convert our audience to leads so that we've got the right amount of leads, the right quality, coming in at the right quantity on a weekly or monthly basis. That's going to fuel the sales engine. Team, everything we do as human beings is driven by two fundamental forces. Everything we do as human beings is driven by two fundamental forces. The first thing the fundamental that drives all the decision making is our desire to move away from pain. Away from pain or perceived pain, meaning if I continue along this path, I think I will experience some sort of pain in the future. The second fundamental that drives all decision making is our desire to move toward pleasure. Is our desire to move toward pleasure. Everything we do is driven by those two things. From what time you set the alarm for this morning, to whether you set an alarm or not, to what you had for breakfast, to the clothes that you're wearing, to what brought you to this event, to where in the room you sat, to what you're taking out of this presentation right now, to what business you're in, to what business you're not in, to the partner that you have, to the partner that you don't, to where you live, to where you take your kids to school. It is all driven by the fundamental need to move away from pain and move toward pleasure. The same is true of your prospect. Because people don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. When you can actually articulate my current state, my problem state, my challenges better than I've ever heard anybody to do, immediately without you telling me anything about your product or service, we sell solutions to problems. Solutions to problems. As we move them through the process, we get to a point where eventually we're going to put in front of them a tailored solution. A tailored solution. Let's call that offer. The offer is how we, please write this down, package and present our solution. It's how we package and present our solution. This is one that I missed. You know, sales is probably the first area of business that I mastered at a pretty young age, but I was all about the sales process. I was all about moving them to a point where, you know, the rest kind of took care of itself. Dream outcome times perceived likelihood of achievement divided by time times effort and sacrifice. The vast majority of businesses focus on what's above the line. I'm going to say something amazing and I promise you it'll work. The best businesses in the world focus on what's below the line, removing the time that it takes you to get the outcome and removing the effort and sacrifice that's required from you to get the outcome. Meaningful and impactful wins that help me feel like I'm making progress. And so just if you have a long customer journey, it doesn't mean that you can't hit the time thing. It just means that we need a onboarding and a initial kind of kickstart period where you're showing me and engaging me with real progress. In the history of humanity, have these two, minimizing them, been more important? And it doesn't necessarily always mean a change to your product or service. In fact, often it doesn't. Often it's a change in how we package it, how we present it, and the customer journey we put around it. Price increase falls to the bottom line to an exponential and disproportionate degree. Everything I'm going through with you guys over this hour is seriously impactful in terms of helping you drive growth and helping you deliver more profitability. Speaking to the emotional journey of the customer. That's delight. It's not doing anything highfalutin or fancy. It's just connect. And then lastly, team, under delivery, we're just going to write in amplify. So we deliver, we delight, and we amplify. And so what we want to do, team, is when we've built an attraction model that's attracting the right people, we're converting them into customers at the right price, we're delivering and delighting along the way. We want to find those stories, we want to capture them in case studies and testimonials. We want to take those case studies and testimonials and we want to pepper them throughout our content, throughout our lead gen, throughout our nurture, throughout our process, throughout our offer. And what that does is it means that this is why we call it the drive growth cycle, because it becomes self-fulfilling. Every business has resource constraints. Whether you're a small business doing your own thing, whether you're Amex, whether you're Telstra, every business has resource constraints. Time constraints, money constraints, know-how constraints, audience constraints, lead constraints, customer constraints. Every decision we make in business, whether you're a business owner, a salesperson, or a manager, every decision we make is an investment decision. If you choose to allocate 10 minutes to something, that's an investment. If we choose to allocate $100, $1,000, $100,000, $1 million, $100 million, that's an investment. We grow into the next constraint, we unlock it, we grow into the next constraint. And so where do you start? And I don't mean now or in these 3 days, I mean how you think about your business or your division or your role for the rest of your fucking life. Where do you start? You get really good at identifying what is the number one constraint currently constraining this business. And then you go about unlocking that, knowing that you're going to get to the next constraint after we've unlocked the first one, which might take a month, a quarter, 2 quarters, whatever. But where do you start? You certainly don't start doing it all. That's the fastest way to slow down. You go, what is currently in my business right now? What is currently the biggest constraint? Out of those 9 things. Awesome. Team, looks like you guys have been having a hell of a lot of fun over the last couple of days. The next day and a half is going to be even better. Thank you to Ryan and the team for having me. Thank you to you guys for being such a great audience. Hope to see you all very, very soon. Cheers. You.
Thank you so much. Excellent. Amazing. Thanks, guys. All right, give a round of applause going for